Hi students, I am Ilangovan, Professor of Zoology. The next part, that is about in detail. Now kingdom Protista, under the 5 kingdom classification, we have one Protista. You know that one, first one the Monirans, the second one Protista, then Fungi, Plantae and then Animalia. Now let us start with the kingdom Protista. As I mentioned earlier, all the animals included under kingdom Protista are unicellular, and that too they have a true nucleus. So unicellular eukaryotes. All these animals are unicellular eukaryotes, commonly called as a protist, which includes a number of animals. All are unicellular, having just a true nucleus. Now, what is the main difference between the prokaryotes and eukaryotes? Now, it is a eukaryotic organism. So, if you compare one example, I want to compare one example, say the flagella. So, the flagella are the locomotory structures you can see in the case of both Protista and also in the case of unicellular. Now, if you analyze the nature, the structure of flagella, in the case of eukaryotes, it is called 9+2 arrangement. 9+2 arrangement. The meaning for that one, if you make a cross section of a flagellum, it has 2 central fibrils like this, an array of 9 peripheral fibers. So this is actually the difference. Now in the case of kingdom Protista or in the case of unicellular eukaryotes, the flagellum is formed of 9+2 fibrils, 2 central fibrils and an array of 9 peripheral fibrils. But in the case of prokaryotes, it is being formed of only a single strand. There is no such 9+2 arrangement. So even the same 9+2 arrangement we can see in the case of cilia, flagella, centriole, then you have the basal body, the basal granule, blepharoplast, etc. Even the axial filament of the scope. So in all cases that is a similarity. So in the case of flagella, or in the case of cilia, or in the case of basal body, or in the case of blepharoplast, or any other structures, including the axial filament. So in all cases, you have the same 9+2 arrangement. This is one common feature among these structures. Now, another difference between the flagellum of eukaryotes and prokaryotes. Now, in the case of prokaryotes, the flagellum is formed of a protein what is called flagellin. The flagellin is a protein formed in the case of prokaryotes. But in the case of eukaryotes, the name of the protein that makes up flagella is nothing but tubulin. This is another difference. So based on the structure and based on the chemical nature. Structurally, 9+2 arrangement between just acting in the case of flagella of eukaryotes, and in the case of prokaryotes you have only single stranded structure. Again, chemically, in the case of prokaryotes, the flagellum is formed of a protein flagellin. And in the case of eukaryotes, the flagellum is formed of a protein, what is called tubulin. So that is about the main difference. We'll stop up to this level. Only 2 differences enough to differentiate the flagellum or simply the Protista from the Monirans. Now, so the kingdom Protista includes all unicellular animals. So they are of different types based on the nutrition. We have autotrophic Protist, or you have what is called heterotrophic protist, or simply we can say saprophytic protist and also consumer protist. So there are 3 different categories of protist: autotrophic, saprotrophic and consumer. Now the examples here given in the book, the chrysophytes like diatoms and golden algae, the desmids. Then the dinoflagellates like gonialites, Noctiluca, some more examples. Noctiluca. is also an example for dinoflagellate. So, chrysophytes, the dinoflagellates, and also the euglena, and these three categories are coming under autotrophic protist because they have chloroplast, they have the ability to synthesize food. That is why the chrysophytes like diatoms, then the golden algae like desmids, then the dinoflagellates like Noctiluca, then euglenites like euglena, all are autotrophic protists. They have ability of synthesizing their own food. Now the fourth one, D, slime molds. These are all decomposed protists. Decomposed protists or fungal-like organisms. Some of the organisms are unicellular and some others are multicellular. So slime molds or fungal protists or decomposed protists or saprophytic organisms. Now the last one, the protozoans, become the animal protists. For example, amoeba. Then we have some other examples, Paramecium, Protista. So these are all animal protists, also considered as consumer protists. The first three groups coming under autotrophic protists. The slime molds or decomposed protists. The protozoans or consumer protists. They include amoeba-like organisms. Now let's proceed further. Now what are the characteristics of protozoa? If we take any protozoan animal and all these are unicellular, or sometimes we can say acellular, because some of the structures are being absent. They are below the level of cellular organization, acellular or unicellular. Now in the case of protozoans, there is no natural death, because once they reach the maximum size, they are dividing, going on dividing. Unless there is an accident, there is no natural death for this organism. So, they are all actually animals without natural death. So, only they have accidental death. And of all the organisms, these are all the primitive relatives of animals, the primitive group. And regarding the nutrition, we can have diversity of nutrition in this group. Normally, these organisms are heterotrophs. Though some of the protists, what I mentioned, are having the ability of synthesizing their own food materials like euglena. So most of the animals are heterotrophs. So euglena, Noctiluca, Serratium, Gonialax, and all these things are actually able to synthesize their own food material. So now the main type of nutrition in these organisms, heterotrophs. The nutrition may be holophytic, plant type of nutrition. What I mentioned in the case of euglena or Noctiluca, these animals, though considered as animals, have the ability of synthesizing their own food materials like the plants. That type of nutrition is called holophytic nutrition or a plant type of nutrition. Then holozoa. In the case of amoeba or in our case also, we too have the holozoic type of nutrition or animal type of nutrition. So engulfing or eating oral. In some cases, we have saprozoic nutrition. Saprozoic. Some of the organisms are saprozoic. So feeding on the dead mat, feeding on the dead organic matter. Now, most cases we can have the parasitic organisms also. Entamoeba, Plasmodium, Trichomonas, Leishmania, Trypanosoma. So these are all parasitic protozoans. We have received a number of disorders or diseases from these parasitic protozoans. Say an example of malaria from Plasmodium, amoebiasis from Entamoeba. So most of the unicellular protozoans coming under one class, what is called sporozoa, they have an infective stage, an infective sporozoite stage. A spore-like stage is available in case of parasitic forms. They are responsible for causing infections. Let's see one by one later. Now, what is the type of respiration normally they have? And these animals, as the single cell represents a whole organism, there are no specific structures for respiration. The exchange of gases is possible if you are taking amoeba. Oxygen is taken in through the body surface and carbon dioxide is given out again through the body surface. So it's a simple type of respiration, takes place through the body surface by means of diffusion. Then regarding this protozoan, we have to concentrate on one organelle, what is called the contractile vacuum. So in the case of amoeba, if you are taking the animal, this is the nucleus, there is one vacuole-like structure, what is called contractile vacuum. It is of significance in the case of protozoans. It is of significance in the case of protozoans. That structure is called contractile vacuum. So it is comparable to the kidney of higher animals or including man. So our kidneys are performing two functions. One, osmoregulation, another one, excretion. So the process of maintenance of water content in the body. The process of maintenance of water content in the body, and that process is called osmoregulation. So we have to keep the water content always constant at optimal level. That is called homeostasis, and that is being done in our case by the kidney. The same function in the case of amoeba or any other unicellular protozoans is performed by contractile vacuum. So osmoregulation is through contractile vacuum, the maintenance of water content of the body. Even in the case of these unicellular animals, there is no specific excretory organs. Suppose you are taking, for example, amoeba. There also the waste products are sent out through the membrane only, no specific structures. But this contractile vacuum, the function that is osmoregulation, is being absent in the case of marine and parasitic protozoans. What is the reason? What is the reason for this one? Suppose let us take for example the parasitic protozoan or a marine protozoan having nucleus, here no contractile vacuum. What is the meaning for that one? Now this is a medium where they are living. The medium. The medium in which they are living is isotonic. The medium they are living is isotonic. So what is the meaning of isotonic medium? So the concentration of the protoplasm that is inside the cell is equal to the concentration of the dissolved substances in the outside medium. And also, as the concentration is equal on either side, there is no passage or movement of water on either side. Such a medium is called isotonic. So, in the case of marine organism, in the case of parasitic organisms, they are living in an isotonic medium. So, the main function of the contractile vacuum is to remove the excess of water that enters into the body, and that is called osmoregulation. Suppose let us take amoeba. So if you are taking amoeba, if you are comparing the medium, so now let's consider this is amoeba, and here the medium is normally hypotonic. The freshwater medium is hypotonic. So if you are comparing the medium of the protoplasm of amoeba and the outside medium, here the outside medium is hypotonic, less concentrated. So normally you know the meaning of osmosis. What is always moving from lower concentrated solution to higher concentrated solution. As the medium outside is less concentrated, as the medium inside is more concentrated, now the water enters into the cell. Water enters into the cell. If water is going on entering the cell, at one stage the cell becomes turgid, leading to the rupture of the cell membrane, and that is being prevented by the contractile vacuum. The contractile vacuum collects the excess of water that enters into the cell, and then once it is being filled with, it moves towards the periphery, bursting and releasing the water, and that is what we call osmoregulation. That is why in the case of animals living in fresh water, where the medium is hypotonic, where water enters continuously into the cell, now the animal needs badly, there is a contractile vacuum. It is a must for the animal to have contractile vacuum. But in the case of animals, for example, living in marine water or in parasitic organisms, the medium is isotonic. There is no need to have the contractile vacuum because there is no entry of water continuously into the cell. That is why I said already, I mentioned the points. We have contractile vehicle what in the case of normal organisms living in fresh water. No such contractile vehicles either in the case of marine organisms or in the case of parasitic organisms. Some other characteristics. So in the case of all these animals, we have reproduction is by asexual methods like binary fission, multiple fission, budding, etc. So binary fission is nothing but the division of the body into two daughter cells. Multiple fission, a single cell gives rise to many cells. And budding, a special type of asexual reproduction sealing some attached ciliates, for example acinata and also Protista. Now, the binary fission is not uniform. In the case of amoeba, it is irregular as the animal is asymmetrical. In the case of euglena, it is longitudinal. This is a euglena animal, so the division is longitudinal. In the case of paramecium, the slipper animal cube, it is horizontal. So though we have binary fission, the common method of asexual reproduction in the case of unicellular protozoans, it is not uniform. Again you have biodiversity. So in the case of euglena, longitudinal. In the case of paramecium, it is normally horizontal. In the case of amoeba, it is irregular. So this is the main mode of reproduction. It is the main mode of reproduction seen in the case of unicellular organisms. Now the sexual reproduction. It is by means of syngamy. Syngamy means you know that what the union of two dissimilar animals or union of two gametes like that. Fertilization is also called syngamy. Now the common method of syngamy happens to occur either the gametes produced by these organisms are isogamous or anisogamous. In some cases, we also have nuclear reorganization. It is not a method of reproduction, but exchange of nuclear materials between two different organisms, as it is observed in the case of paramecium. There we have conjugation. So it is not a method of sexual reproduction, but rearrangement of nuclear reorganization. Then autogamy. In the case of one organism by name paramecium aurelia, we have one macronucleus, one micronucleus. So the union of the macro and micronucleus of the same organism occurs, and that is called autogamy. Union of the nuclei of the same organism. Here these two nuclei join together, and that is called autogamy. So it is also some other method of reproduction. In special cases we have. Now this conjugation normally does not occur during just favorable conditions. It occurs only during unfavorable situations. Now we have another method in system. It is not a method of reproduction, but it is a type of actually a process to overcome the unfavorable situations. Normally, for example, during dry conditions or etc. Now classification. So the phylum Protozoa is broadly classified to four based on the nature of the locomotory structures. Some cases we have pseudopodia, some cases we have cilia, some cases we have flagella. Even in some cases there are no locomotive structures. Accordingly, we have just one class Rhizopoda, amoeboid-like organisms or amoeboid protozoans. And in these cases they have pseudopodia for locomotion. So the pseudopodia are the main organs of locomotion. They are responsible for amoeboid movement. So even various theories have been proposed to explain the concept of amoeboid movement. So the pseudopodia are used for not only just for locomotion but also for food capturing process. So various theories we have, for example the surface tension theory as proposed by Berthaud, Rolex theory by Jennings, then contraction theory or walking movement theory by means of Dellinger. But the most accepted theory of amoeboid movement was given by Hyman along with the help of Maas and Panty. So we have different theories. We'll have this one separately later. So anyway, the amoeboid movement, the concept has been explained in different ways by different theories by different people. Now, so other animals coming under this category, for example, one animal nicknames an animal Q. Here the animal is having the pseudopodia in the form of radiating rays. That's why the name is given as a sun animal Q, the name actinopheres. So these animals have shells. Normally the protozoans have never shells, but certain animals like this one having silica shells all over the body, so that it becomes hardened. Normally such animals are called radiolarians or heliozoans, etc. The common name for this animal actinopheres, sun animal Q. And also under this group Rhizopoda, some are parasitic forms. For example, entamoeba. So if you are taking what is called just a pseudopodia, the number is different in different organisms. For example, in amoeba it is called multipodia. But in the case of entamoeba, it is monopodia. If you want to differentiate entamoeba from, that is amoeba, amoeba is polypodial, having many pseudopodia, whereas this entamoeba, a parasitic form, has only one pseudopodium, that is monopodium. So it is a parasite of man that causes amoebic dysentery, you will see under microbiology. Now the second class Masticophora, the flagellata, the flagellated protozoans. Some of the flagellates are in the form of free living, for example Noctiluca or Euglena, and these two organisms have the ability of preparing their own food materials. Even this Noctiluca, simply called as the burning of the sea, it exhibits a phenomenon what is called bioluminescence. So what do you mean by a bioluminescence? It is a chemical process happening in the body of some organisms. As a result, the light being emitted. So the light is being emitted by the living organisms, and that phenomenon is called bioluminescence. But normally during the emission of light, you know the heat formation. But here when the animal is releasing the light, there is no heat evolution. That is why it is also called as cold light. The life light or cold light that emitted by organisms, and that phenomenon is called bioluminescence. Now this Noctiluca, simply called with the nickname burning of the sea, it emits red light coming in large groups so that it can have the apparently just what is called the appearance of red cereal bulbs, hence given the name Noctiluca, the burning of the sea. Now most of them in this case you have the parasitic forms. For example, the trypanosoma, the one which causes African sleeping sickness. Leishmania, the one which causes skin leishmaniasis or visceral leishmaniasis, we can also call this one as a color azar. The trichomonas, vaginalis or baccharis, they cause damage either to the buccal cavity or to the sex organs. Now Giardia, the most common type of flagellate protozoan, the one which causes diarrhea, giardiasis. The name of the organism Giardia intestinalis, the disease caused diarrhea, giardiasis. So these are some of the examples for parasitic protozoans. We also have just one organism which is acting as what is called a symbiotic organism. One flagellate protozoa, namely Trichonypha. It is a symbiotic organism living in the body of white ants, or that is termites. The termites are eating on mainly the cellulosic material, that is the main food, but they cannot have the ability of digesting cellulose, and for that they need the help of this flagellate protozoa Trichonypha. The Trichonypha is living in the intestine of termites or white ants, and that has the ability of releasing the enzyme cellulase to digest the cellulose, so that the animal gets benefited, namely the termites. At the same time, the Trichonypha, the flagellate protozoa, also gets something in its turn from the host, that is nothing but the accommodation and also the food. So in such a manner, these two organisms are mutually benefited, and such a relationship is called symbiotic relationship. Then, class Ciliophora. These are all the animals having cilia. The best example you have the Paramecium. The animal is looking like a slipper, hence the name is called slipper animal cube. And another animal by name Protista, it is looking like a bell. This is an animal, it is an attached forms looking like a bell. That's why the name is given as bell animal cube. Both are ciliates. Also we have another parasitic form Valentidium. Valentidium, a parasitic ciliate. Now one of the peculiar characters in the case of these organisms. So animal having some cellular mouth, a passage, what is called gullet. It opens outside. Through this opening only the food is being taken in. Gullet, cytopharynx, etc. all these structures. We have a passage for the engulfing of food. And that is a peculiar one seen in the case of severe pores. Now class Protozoa, the only class of animals without any locomotory structures. So all are parasitic protozoans. Maybe the question like this, which one of the following classes of protozoa includes only the parasitic protozoans? So the class Protozoa only just contains the parasitic protozoans. As I mentioned earlier, there are no contractile vehicles in all the parasitic protozoan. Another important character for this group, they do not have any locomotive structures for movement. So no contractile vacuum, no locomotive structures for these animal groups. The best example you know that one Plasmodium, the malarial parasite, the one which causes malaria. And another organism by name Nosema. This is normally a threat to apiculture and sericulture. The apiculture and sericulture are being affected by this Nosema parasite because it causes damage to, that is apiculture field, causing damage to the honeybees by causing the disease Nosema disease. In honeybees it causes Nosema disease. At the same time it also causes damage to the sericulture field by causing a disease to the silk moth, namely the Vetri disease. So Vetri disease in the case of silk moth and also Nosema disease in the case of honeybees. So these are all some of the parasitic protozoans what we have. Now final query for the next one. So I mentioned earlier this is a specific group of multicellular animals without tissue grade of organization. So they have simply cells, many cells, but the cells are performing their own individual functions aggregated together for cooperation. That's all. So cellular level of organization. And most of them are marine except one sponge, Spongilla. So only freshwater sponge, Spongilla, found in freshwater. And normally almost all the animals are sedentary, attached forms, not at all looking like animals at all. And some of them are solitary and some of them are colonial, living in singles or in groups. So Spongilla is the only freshwater sponge and others are marine in nature. See the example one by one. Now, in the case of this animal, just like the coelentrates, diploblast, but the name of the body wall layers are outer pinnacle is also called epidermis and inner quinodome. This is the peculiar character of this cat. Diploblastic, outer epidermis, others called pinnacle and then inner quinodome or gastrodermis. Now, in between these two, there is a jelly-like layer, what is called mesentery. Normally, the body is rigid in nature. This is because the body wall is supported by skeleton made up of spicules of either silica or calcium carbonate or spongin fibers. So, in the case of both sponge, we have the spongin fibers. So, the dried spongin fibers are useful for bathing. We are obtaining the spongin fibers mainly for both sponge, use sponge. Then there is one of the examples, economic important, the one which provides bath sponge, natural bath sponge. Now, again, a peculiar system formed for this group. So each group has its own uniqueness. The uniqueness or distinctiveness for this group is the presence of canal system. The presence of canal system is a peculiar system. It is called lifeline of sponges. Lifeline lifeline of sponges, because this system helps this animal for various functions, for excretion, for exchange of gases, for nutrition. Hence, the canal system is aptly called as lifeline of sponges. Normally, this is useful for food gathering, what I said earlier, respiratory exchange, and also removal of waste. Now, we have different types of canal systems. In some cases, the canal systems are simple type. So, in some cases, we have the canal system more complicated and more efficient. In some cases, we have the canal system only in the normal cases. In some cases, we have less efficient canal system. So, accordingly, we have 4 different types of canal system. Number 1, Ascon type of canal system. This is the simplest type of canal system. So, what do you mean by canal system? Suppose we are taking a sponge. This is a sponge, and this being the body wall. And now this is a cavity, sponge was seen. This is the sponge. Now, just on the wall, we have small openings are formed. That is why the group is called porifera. The meaning for that one, perforated body wall animals having body wall perforated by small holes. That's why the name is given as porifera. Now these are all the openings. Outer opening and inner opening. Outer body wall has opening, inner body wall has opening. So through these openings only the water enters. So there are many openings on the body wall, and these openings are called ostia. These openings are called ostia. And now there is a body cavity, single body cavity called spongosia. And for the exit of water there is only single exit. This single exit is called osculum. This single exit is called osculum. The single exit is called osculum. So again, so normally we have the passage of water from outside through ostia, then spongosia, and then osculum. Now between outer and inner ostium only we have the tube system. We have the tube system, what is called the canal system. Now this canal system is of Ascon type or asconoid type. It is the most simplest type. You can have this one in the case of Lycosolinia, the simplest sponge. Now the second type, the Sycon type. The Sycon type, somewhat slightly advanced. It is seen in the case of Sypha, normally called as urn sponge. This is normally called as urn sponge. And also Grantia. Now the third type, Lyconoid type or Lycon type. This is the most complicated and efficient type of canal system. Though the name you have the Lycon, but it is not found in the case of Lycosolinia. In the case of Lycosolinia, we have the canal system, only the single type of canal system called the Ascon type. But in the case of Spongilla, the freshwater sponge, we have a more efficient and complicated canal system that is called Lycon or Lyconoid type. Then the last one, Dragon or Dragonoid type. It is found only in the case of larvae of some animal groups, the one which belongs to class Demospongia, which includes the box sponge, the spongilla, then we have the advanced finger, etc. So only it is found in the larval stages, hence called the larval canal system. Now, the pathway what I mentioned. Now, the peculiar character of this organism, the presence of choanocytes, the choanocytes or called cells. Normally, digestion occurs in these cells. Normally, these cells lining the canal system and the spongosia. And the cell is called so. This is a cell. It is having a collar like this and one flagellum. So, cell, this is a collar and this is the flagellum. Hence, called flagellated corner cells. And that is why the cells are called choanocytes, lining the inner wall of the spongosia as well as the canal system. They are helping in digestion, particularly digestion, because in these animals, though a complicated multicellular organism, there are no structures for digestion. That is, there is no stomach, etc. as we cannot. And now the digestion is intracellular, happening inside the cells. There are two in the poiноcytes and also another type of cells, what is called amoebocytes. So digestion is intracellular, though the organism is multicellular. That is in the collar cells. In another cells, what is called amoebocytes, the accessory one. Then for types of cells. So we have different types of cells. The porocytes, the cells with the pores, archaeocytes, and this is very important. These cells are totipotent. Almost all the cell types have been developed only from these archaeocytes, hence called totipotent cells. Once again, after the synthesis, after the preparation of food, then you have the theocytes where the food material is being stored. As the question comes from the student. So the asculum is not considered as a mouth or anus. The animal doesn't have anus or mouth. The ostia are comparable to the mouth. So many openings we have the inherent openings. They are acting as the mouth. Now it is called as only the osculum and exit. It is not comparable to the anus because there is no waste products connected to the spondylocyte. The digestion is intracellular only. There is no excretion of products. There is no release of the waste products from the body. It is only an exit. But the ostia are comparable to the mouth because the intake of water, the intake of food, all being taken in only through the ostia. Hence, ostia considered as mouth, but osculum is only exit, not considered as anus. Now, the scleroblast. So we have different just spicules of different combinations, either calcium carbonate or silica or any other materials like sponge. And these cells which secrete these spicules are called the scleroblast. So the theocytes concerned with the storage, the scleroblasts are concerned with the secretion of the skeletal materials responsible for strengthening the body wall. Now normally the animals are hermaphrodites having both male and female sex cells in the same body, and the reproduction is by means of asexual as well as by sexual method. The asexual method is by means of either fragmentation or by means of budding. And that the formation of bud here is peculiar in some cases. We have the formation of internal buds. Such internal buds formed in the case of animals are called gemmules. The internal buds developed in some animals, particularly sponges, are called gemmules. So normally the budding is formed outside. But here the bud is formed just inside. Such inside bud, internal bud is called gemmule. And normally the development is indirect. The development is indirect. So when I am saying the development is indirect, that means there is a larval stage. If the development is direct, the young one is resembling the adult. It is called a development, a direct development. For example, you have human beings, we have the direct development. In the case of frog, there is a larval stage. The larva doesn't look like the animal, the adult frog. That is why there you have, the larva has to go through a number of stages and finally converted into an adult form. So there you have the indirect development. If you have any larval stage, if the young one doesn't resemble the adult, then the animal has to go through a series of changes and finally forming the adult. And that kind of development is indirect development. For example, tadpole larva of frog, caterpillar of butterflies, etc. And here there are two larval stages. In one case, the larva is a solid larva, actually ball of cells. There is no hollow cavity. Such a larva is called parenchyma or stereogastral larva. This is a solid larva, and as in the case of Clathrina, one type of sponge. But in the case of Cypher and Lycosolania, that is, you have the several sponges, there is a larval stage amphiblastula. It is a hollow blastula. It is a hollow blastula-like structure, so solid, this one hollow. Now the classification of sponges mainly based on the nature of the skeleton they have. For example, class number 1, Calcarea. The name itself implies, you see that one, the spicules are calcareous. Example, Lycosolania and Cypher. Then the second one, Hexactinellina. Here the silica forms the spicules. So spicules are made of silica and having 6 rays. They are having 6 rays like this. That's why the name is given. 6 rays. That is why the group is called Hexapinellida. We have one animal, a transparent sponge, what is called the glass rope sponge, Hyalonema. And another animal of economic importance, namely Euplectella, and also examination point of view, important one, that is Venus flower basket. So it is being given as a gift in Japan at the time of wedding to denote or to symbolize till death we do not part. To symbolize that one, and normally it is being given as a gift at the time of wedding, hence called wedding gift of Japan, or the nickname Venus flower basket. Then the last one, Demospongia. The skeleton is made up of siliceous spicules or spongin or bone. Now here also we have some animal groups. The freshwater sponge, Spongilla, and the new spongia, the board sponge. So we are obtaining this board sponge from the dried spongin fibers of new sponge. Then another organism by name Callina. It looks like a dead man's finger, hence the name dead man's fingers or mermaid gloves. Another sponge is now Cleona. It is a boring sponge. It causes damage to the pale oyster, hence affecting the pure industry. And another one looking like a horse, Pipospongia, normally called as horse sponge. So these are all some of the diagrams. You see that one, the first one, the cycon, and this one the board sponge, and this is the spongilla. Some of the examples of the sponges. Then we will continue further about other phyla in detail in the next class. So you are welcome to ask any questions at any time. So we are ready to answer it. So we will discuss other things in the next class. Thank you for today's class.